Hi ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders, welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take it for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button or turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. If you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. We would also drop a link to the free Telegram group where we will be sharing updates of these setups as the week unfolds. Without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups discussed in our previous video before we dive into next week's analysis. So stay tuned. We have here NASDAQ. So we're anticipating a possible higher low formation, and price pulled back into this area of interest and gave us this morning star formation right here. So we had to wait for another possible higher low formation to give us an entry on this trade. So dropping to the 4-hour time frame, I think we got our entry on 15 minutes. So we had a structure shift around here. So our entry was around here, and we took our buy position and put our SL below this structure or right shoulder formation right here. So we are currently holding this position to TP2. There's a TP3, but we would rather consider the TP2 instead for this trade on NASDAQ. We also have here the US 2000 or Russell 2000. As of last week, we were anticipating a possible pullback or a possible higher low formation. We got a higher low formation, and we got this nice 4-hour structure shift here. There was a nice 4-hour structure shift here, and we were anticipating that price was going to pull back to retest the structure point to give us an entry for this position. We actually took the entry on the retest of the 2-hour structure point instead, but eventually price came back to retest the 4-hour structure, which we anticipated earlier to see our buy entry come from. When price came back to retest this 2-hour structure, we got this engulfing candle, this 2-hour engulfing candle. So this is where we had our entry for this position, and we are currently holding this trade for Russell 2000 or US 2000. So as price keeps developing, if we are presented with any buying opportunities along the way, we'll look for buying opportunities to add positions to our ultimate TP we have here. We also have here German 30. So for German 30, we initially anticipated that price was going to pull back to either this zone to give us a right shoulder formation or a higher low formation. Our price took off with a very nice momentum, came back for a retest on this daily structure. So we got our entry around there, I think on a 30 minutes time frame after the retest of the daily structure. We got this 30 minutes structure shift here, and we took our entry at a 30-minute structural shift. So this was the entry for this position, and we are currently holding this buy to this TP. There's an ultimate TP at the top. So what we'll be doing is we would either take our full TP at this TP1 and look for further buying opportunities to reach this TP2, or what we can also do is to take partials when it hits TP1 and hold the rest of the positions until it hits TP2. So we are very bullish on German 30. As price continues to develop, if we get any buying opportunities till this TP, we'll still look out for those buying opportunities along the way. We have here AUDNZD. So AUDNZD, last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back to this very first area of interest to give us a buying opportunity. Price was some few pips shy away from the area of interest, and it took off after the news release on NZD the previous week, and we had this strong momentum from this area, and then price took off, and we were not able to engage this trade, and it has currently hit its final TP that we were looking out for. So we missed out on this buy on AUDNZD. Let's see what we have for the economic calendar for the coming week. So on Monday we have a bank holiday for the JPY and the Chinese yen. I think the Spring Festival is still ongoing for the Chinese. Tuesday, there's no high impact news on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have AUDCPI, and later in the day, we are going to see or have President Donald Trump speak later in the day on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have the USD unemployment claims, and on Friday, we have the CADJPY and the USD core PPI. So these are the economic news or events that we are looking out for the coming week. So let's take note of them. Let's jump into the charts for the coming week. This is DXY. So we anticipated some few weeks ago that price was going to react from this area of interest. We had this strong momentum and price has finally pulled back to the area of interest once again. So what we will be looking out for is reversal patterns or selling confirmations around this zone to take ourselves to the downside. We are still very bearish on DXY for the coming week. So we currently have these two should I say rejection candles. They don't really look like rejection candles. It looks like price is currently slowing down in the area of interest. So we're going to be patient and see how price develops within this area to give us selling confirmations to take ourselves to the downside. Also, if we look at the 4-hour time frame, we have this structure point here. Should we get a structural shift? Should we get a 4-hour structural shift and get something like a double top formation around here, or maybe a head and shoulder formation, any form of reversal pattern that develops around this area? We're looking forward to take ourselves to the downside or the bearishness for DXY for the coming week. This is EURUSD. So from the previous weeks, we anticipated that price was going to pull back to this area of interest to give us buying opportunities to the various TPs we have above here. Price is currently at the area of interest and we are yet to see any confirmations. But as you can see, we have these two rejection candles, or this a sign of price slowing down in the area of interest, for which we might likely see a momentum develop or start from here. Sometimes when you get these two rejection candles, most of the time the next candle that follows would likely be a momentum candle from the area of interest. So we're going to be very patient to see how price develops within the area of interest to give us an opportunity to take our buys to the top. So we are extremely bullish on EURUSD for the coming week. This is GBPUSD. GBPUSD is also currently in the area of interest we anticipated it to reach. So just like we looked out for EURUSD, we are going to look out for reversal patterns or buying confirmations within this zone and take our buys from here to the upside. Should price come all the way down to the second zone here, we will still be interested in taking our buys from here to the upside. And this is when price breaks below and continues downwards, then we are going to consider it bearish. Also, if we get a weekly candle, should we get a weekly candle close below this weekly structure, then we would say GBPUSD has shifted bearish. So this is the weekly time frame. So this is the weekly structure I'm talking about. Should we get a weekly candle close below this structure, accounts for a pullback and continues downwards, then we'll be looking out for the bearishness for GBPUSD. But currently we are bullish for GBPUSD. We have here USDCAD. So USDCAD too has a similar setup like DXY. So we saw this nice reaction from this area of interest the first time, and price has finally pulled back into the area of interest once again. So what we have to do is wait for reversal patterns or reversal confirmations or selling confirmations within this zone and take ourselves from there. Should price pull back all the way to the second zone above, we will still be interested in taking the sales from there as well to this very target we have here, or this harmonic pattern that we have been looking at for weeks now. So dropping to the 4-hour time frame, should we get something like a strong shift? Should we get something like a 4-hour candle closure below this 4-hour structure? we'll look out for a possible pullback or a possible right shoulder formation, and we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside. So going into next week, we'll be patient to see how price develops. Currently, the way price is slowing down within the zone, we might likely also see a very strong momentum from next week. We might likely see a very strong momentum, and price will just keep dropping, and we may not get an opportunity to enter the trade. So we just have to be patient to see how price develops, and then we take our position on USDCAD for the coming week. We have here AUDUSD. So AUDUSD, last week we anticipated that it was going to react either from this zone or this second zone below. Price actually has given us a nice reaction, or a structural shift, a 4-hour structural shift from the very first area of interest. Going into next week, we are going to look out for either a possible pullback back into the zone, maybe a possible pullback back into the zone to give us something like a double bottom formation, and we look for buying opportunities to the upside. Or should price give us put this somewhere, should price give us another 4-hour closure, candle closure above the structures we have here, we'll look forward to a possible right shoulder or higher low formation, and we'll look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we are extremely bullish on AUDUSD for the coming week. Things are a lot. On to the next, we have here USDJPY. So last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest to give us selling opportunities to the downside. And currently price is in the area of interest, and we can see some rejections, or you can see price slowing down gradually. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to see a reversal pattern within this zone, maybe a double top, a head and shoulder formation, or whatever formation that will give us a signal that we want to sell, then we'll take ourselves from here to the downside. So we are extremely bearish on USDJPY for the coming week. This can only shift bullish if price breaks above these structures and continues to the upside. Should price pull back all the way to the second zone and give us confirmations here to sell also, we'll be glad to take ourselves from here to the downside. Sorry. We also have here GBPJPY. Last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back to the area of interest to give us a selling opportunity to the downside. Price didn't make its way there, and we are looking forward to the pullback. Should price miraculously or find its way to retest this area of interest, we'll still be interested in looking for the sales to the downside. This can only shift bullish if price breaks above and continues to the upside. So we are very bearish on GBPJPY for the coming week. This is EURJPY. So we had this setup from last week where we anticipated that price was going to either retest this first area of interest or the second area of interest above to give us selling opportunities. Price has currently retested the area of interest. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to reversal patterns and look for selling confirmations around this zone and take ourselves to the downside. Should price continue to pull back to the second zone above, we will still be interested in looking for the selling opportunities as well to the downside for EURJPY. So we are very bearish on EURJPY for the coming week. This is CADJPY, which also has a similar setup like EURJPY, and currently price is in the area of interest, so we look forward to the reversal patterns around here and then take ourselves to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there. If price breaks above and continues to the upside, then price would have finally shifted or continued its long-term bullish momentum. So we are looking for the bearish side of things for CADJPY for the coming week. We also have here NZDJPY. We had a setup from last week where we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest to give us selling opportunities to the downside. Price has not made its way there yet, but going into next week, we'll still be looking forward to that retest before we see price sell to the downside. If this breaks or clears this structure point here and counts for retest, then we know NZDJPY has shifted bullish, but currently it is bearish. We also have here EURGBP, which is shaping up nicely. So going into next week, we currently have a possible harmonic pattern developing. So we currently have this is the X, this is the A. So a possible B leg, depending on where the B leg reverses. So a possible B leg, and we are looking forward to a possible C leg formation and we get our buys. We look for our buying opportunities to the upside. So we are looking forward to this potential harmonic pattern. So what we are waiting for is a possible C-leg formation, or a possible right shoulder formation, and we look for buying opportunities to the upside for this setup on EURGBP. It also looks like it's also looking like an inverse head and shoulder formation. So let's be patient to see how price develops. So this is a left shoulder, this is a head, and possible right shoulder that we are looking out for. We look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we are very bullish on EURGBP, but before we consider the bullish moves, we have to wait for a C-leg formation before we look for the buys to the upside. So if you are a day trader or an intraday trader, you might want to look out for a short-term selling opportunity from here to give us a C-leg formation before price takes off to the bullish side. So we are very bullish on EURGBP for the coming week or weeks. This is GBPCAD. GBPCAD currently is extremely bearish. So going into next week, we are looking out for this possible pullback to this very first area of interest to give us selling opportunities. I mean, price has already retested it, but we're looking forward to a possible retest once again to the area of interest to give us a selling opportunity to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we will still look out for the sales from here to the downside. So we are extremely bearish for GBPCAD for the coming week. This can only shift bullish if we get price to break above this daily structure point here. If we get a daily candle closure above this structure point, comes for a retest and continues to the upside, then we will consider this trade or this pair bullish. Until then, we are extremely bearish on GBPCAD for the coming week. This is EURCAD. It looks a bit messy, but looking at the structures, I think on the weekly and on the daily perspective, we are bearish now. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is selling opportunities, a possible pullback into this zone once again, a possible retest to this zone, and look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are very bearish on EURCAD for the coming week. So should price pull back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in looking for the selling opportunities to sell to the downside. And we also have here GBPNZD. So GBPNZD is very bearish on weekly and a daily perspective. Sorry. So we're looking forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest, this very first area of interest, to look for selling opportunities to the downside, or we look forward to a higher pullback or pullback into the second zone above to give us selling opportunities to the downside. So we are extremely bearish on GBPNZD for the coming week. This is NZDCHF, and NZDCHF is on the structure wise, the daily perspective is bearish, but the weekly perspective is bullish, and then the monthly perspective is bearish. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for a possible reaction from this zone to we'll be looking out for a possible selling opportunity within this zone right here, and then we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside. Should price give us a bullish candle break above, if price gives us a bullish candle closure above the structure point, then we'll be looking at the bullish side of things for NZDCHF. Until then, we're going to be patient to see how price develops within this area of interest to look for selling opportunities to the downside. We have here gold, and so for gold has currently reacting from an area of interest, and it has given us a nice daily structure shift. So gold has currently shifted bullish on the daily structure here. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback to retest the daily structure we have here to look for buying opportunities to the upside and target the all-time high once again. Or should price pull back a bit deeper into the area of interest again, we'll be looking out for buying opportunities from this zone to take the buys to the upside. So we are extremely bullish on gold for the coming week. This is silver. we had this setup from last week where we were anticipating that price was going to shift this daily structure right here and give us something like an inverse head and shoulder formation, and currently that is what is developing. So you just have to be patient to see this daily structure shift. We are looking out for a possible daily candle closure above this daily structure, and then we'll look for a possible a possible pullback or higher low formation, either to retest the neckline of this possible inverse head and shoulder, or come a bit deeper and look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we are extremely bullish on silver. We just have to be patient to see how price develops, and this is the inverse head and shoulder that is actually developing on silver. So this is doesn't look too clean, but then this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and the head wasn't very complete, but this looks like the right shoulder that is currently developing. So price would likely break above this structure point and make the inverse head and shoulder more clear for us. Then we get a pullback to either retest the neckline or a deeper pullback to give us a higher low formation to continue the buys to the upside, to target the all-time high we had some weeks ago. We also have here Brent crude oil. Brent crude oil, as at last week, we anticipated that price was going to pull back to this area of interest to give us buying opportunities or buying momentum to the upside. Price never made its way to the area of interest, and then it smashed the TP1 and then the TP2 that we had from the previous week. Currently, we have a very nice bullish momentum on the weekly perspective and in the daily perspective. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into these two areas of interest we have here, and then we target the targets we have above. So we are looking for a possible pullback to this very first area of interest, and we look for buying opportunities to these targets we have. Should price pull back to the second area of interest below, we will still be interested in looking for the buying opportunities to the upside. But if price gives us a weekly candle closure, if we get, let me clear this, put it somewhere. If we get a weekly candle close below these structures right here, then we'll consider Brent crude oil bearish. Until then, we are extremely bullish on Brent crude oil for the coming week. And the last for the week, we have US30. So for US30, we have this nice bullish structures developing, and price pulled back into the area, the very first area of interest. We had these nice rejection candles, and we're currently seeing a very nice momentum coming off over here. So what we are going to wait for is to see a daily candle close above. So we are going to wait for this daily structure shift right here. So we are waiting for a daily structure shift, a daily candle closure above. We'll look for a possible higher low formation or a possible right shoulder formation, and we look for buying opportunities to the upside. So these are various targets we have for US30. We are extremely bullish on US30 for the coming week. So let's just be patient to see how price develops around this zone, and I will encourage all of us to apply proper risk management to our trades. I wish all of us a successful week and a fruitful and a profitable one as well. Let's trade safe and sound, apply proper risk management to our trades, and also I thank you so much for spending time to watch this video. I don't take you for granted at all, and I hope to see you or catch you on another episode. So take good care of yourself and have a wonderful week. Bye bye.